The deep space research vessel Harmony drifted silently through the darkness. Inside, Dr. Jun Kim stared at the monitor showing the strange signal that had pulled them off course. He ran his hand through his short black hair, fatigue showing on his face after 30 hours without sleep. "Still think this is a good idea?" asked Mina Park. She stood beside him, checking the readings on her tablet. Her practical jumpsuit carried the blue patch of the science division, matching Jun's. "Protocol says we should report it and move on," Jun admitted. "But that signal, and it's not random. Something intelligent made it." The year was 2157. Humans had spread to 3 solar systems beyond Earth, but true alien life remained undiscovered. Jun had spent his career searching for it. At 42, with 15 years on deep space missions, he was beginning to wonder if he would die without ever finding what he sought. The ship's combat specialist, Tae Han, entered the bridge. His red security uniform contrasted with the blue, worn by the scientists. "Captain wants to know if we're wasting our time," Tae said. Unlike the others, he carried a standard-issue pulse rifle. He had never needed to use it against anything but training targets, but he maintained it perfectly. "We're not wasting our time," Jun said firmly. "The signal is degrading. If we don't investigate now, we might lose it forever." From the communications station, Suli spoke without looking up from her console. "I've cleaned up the signal. It's definitely artificial, and it follows linguistic patterns. Someone made this." Captain Dahl, a serious man with more concern for regulations than discovery, had reluctantly approved their detour. The uncharted planet orbited a yellow star similar to Earth's sun. Initial scans showed breathable air and water. But there was something else. Strange energy patterns that interfered with their long-range communications. "Prepare the landing shuttle," Jun said. "Mina, Tae, you're with me. Sue, monitor from here and keep the link open as long as possible." 30 minutes later, the shuttle broke through wispy clouds, revealing a landscape that made them all fall silent. Massive craters scarred the land. Forests burned in the distance. What might have been cities were now just rubble. "What happened here?" Mina whispered. Tae checked his weapon. "War. Keep your guard up." The shuttle landed in a clearing near the signal source. When the door opened, they smelled smoke and something else. An odd, sweet scent none of them recognized. Their environmental suits filtered most of it, but traces got through. "The signal is coming from those caves," Mina said, pointing to a rocky hillside half a kilometer away. They walked in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Jun led the way, his scanner sweeping for dangers. Tae watched, their backs jumpy at every sound. Mina collected samples, soil, plants, even air, storing them in small containers at her belt. "The plant life is similar to Earth's, but not the same," she noted. "Convergent evolution, maybe." Jun nodded, but his focus was on the caves ahead. The signal grew stronger as they approached. Then his scanner picked up something else. "Life. Signs," he said quietly. "Complex. Large." "How large?" Tae asked, raising his rifle slightly. Jun checked the readings again. "Very large. And unlike anything in our database, the cave mouth loomed before them, dark and forbidding. Water dripped somewhere inside, echoing. Their lights cut through the darkness, revealing smooth walls that seemed partly natural, partly shaped. "Someone lived here," Mina said, pointing to marks that might have been writing. Their comms crackled. "Harmony to landing team." Sue's voice came through with static. "Those energy patterns are increasing. You might lose contact if you go deeper." "Understood," Jun replied. "We won't go far." But they did go far. The signal pulled them deeper through twisting passages that sloped downward. The air grew warmer, the sweet smell stronger. "I don't like this," Tae said, checking corners with his light. "Too many places for an ambush." "We're scientists, not soldiers," Jun reminded him. "We're here to learn, not fight." "Tell that to whoever destroyed the surface," Tae muttered. They entered a large chamber where the ceiling opened to the sky, letting in natural light. The walls gleamed with a substance that looked like glass but wasn't. And there, at the far end, was the source of the signal. It stood, or rather hunched, over 3 meters tall. Its skin shifted colors like oil on water, sometimes solid, sometimes nearly see-through. 6 limbs extended from its body, the upper ones ending in what looked horribly like weapons grown from flesh. Its head had no eyes that they could see, but they felt its awareness lock onto them immediately. Tay raised his rifle. The creature made a sound that shook dust from the ceiling, a roar that was both threat and fear. "Don't shoot," June said, putting his hand on Ty's weapon. Look, behind the creature, partly hidden, were smaller versions of itself. 3 of them, no bigger than human children, cowering against the wall. It's protecting its young, Mina realized. The creature's skin rippled with color, reds and oranges that seemed to pulse with its breathing. One of its limbs was clearly injured, leaking a glowing blue fluid. It backed up, keeping itself between the humans and its children. "It's afraid of us," June said. "Good," Tay replied. "Fear keeps things predictable." Their comms crackled again. "Landing team, what's happening?" Sue's voice was breaking up. "Your vitals are spiking." "We've made contact," June said simply. Then to the others, "We need to show we're not a threat." As if understanding his words, the creature made a series of low sounds. Not quite speech, but patterned, deliberate. The translator can't make sense of it, Mina said, checking her device. One of the young creatures collapsed suddenly. The adult's reaction was immediate, a sound of distress, colors shifting to deep blues and purples. It turned to its child while still keeping its weapon limbs, aimed at the humans. June made a decision then. He reached up and removed his helmet. "What are you doing?" Tay hissed. "The air could be toxic." "Our scan said it's breathable," June said, "and we need to establish trust." The air was warm and thick with that sweet scent. June took a breath, then another. His medical implant showed no warnings. "I'm going closer," he said, handing his helmet to Mina. "That's suicide," Tay argued. "One hit from those things on its arms would cut you in half." June ignored him. He walked forward slowly, hands empty and visible. The creature's colors shifted rapidly now, confusion perhaps. It made threatening movements but didn't attack. Step by step, June approached. 5 meters away, 3 meters. Close enough to see the complex patterns on its skin, like living circuitry. The young one made a pitiful sound. The adult shifted, torn between defense and caring for its child. "I want to help," June said softly, knowing the words meant nothing, but hoping his tone conveyed his intent. Just 2 meters separated them now. The creature's weapon limbs hummed with energy. It could kill him instantly. Then June felt something, a whisper in his mind. Images, feelings, not words. Pain, fear, loss. The creature was somehow projecting its emotions. One more step. The creature towered over him. June looked up at it, meeting what he now understood was its sensory area. Not eyes, but something that perceived him just the same. And in a moment that would change human history forever, Dr. June Kim did something no training manual had ever suggested. He stepped forward and wrapped his arms around the creature's massive body, embracing it as best he could. The chamber went absolutely still. Time seemed to stop in the cave. Tay kept his weapon aimed, his finger trembling on the trigger. Mina held her breath. And June, his arms stretched around only a small part of the massive creature, waited. The creature went completely still. Its color settled into a deep, steady blue. The weapon limbs, which had been ready to strike, slowly lowered. "June," Mina whispered. "Are you okay?" He didn't answer immediately. His eyes were closed, his face showing deep concentration. When he spoke, his voice sounded distant. "I can feel it," he said. "In my mind. It's trying to communicate." The creature made a new sound now, not a roar but a low, vibrating hum that made the air itself seem to thicken. June's body swayed slightly, as if moved by an invisible force. "What's happening to him?" Tay demanded, taking a step forward. Mina checked her scanner. "His brainwaves are changing. They're syncing with some kind of energy the creature is putting out." Through the static of their damaged comms, Sue's voice broke through. Landing team, the ship's sensors are picking up unusual energy patterns centered on your location. Captain Dahl wants you to pull back immediately. Neither Mina nor Tay responded. They watched as one of the smaller creatures, the young ones, cautiously approached June and the adult. June's eyes opened suddenly. They call themselves the Nuri, he said. This one's name, it's not exactly a name as we understand it. It's more like a feeling. The closest I can translate is Un. It's talking to you? Ty asked, his weapon still raised. How? Not with words, with images, emotions, concepts. June's face showed wonder rather than fear. They're telepathic, but it's more than that. They share experiences directly. The injured young one made another pained sound. The adult, Yun, finally broke contact with June and turned to its child. June stepped back, looking dazed. They're dying, he said. All of them. Their wounds. They can heal almost anything, given time. But something about the weapons that did this is preventing healing. Mina approached cautiously, her medical scanner in hand. Can I help? She asked, though she knew the creature couldn't understand her words. June nodded. I think that's why it reached out to me. It sensed we might help. As Mina moved closer to scan the injured young one, June explained what he had learned. The Nuri were a peaceful species despite their fearsome appearance. Their weapon-like limbs had evolved for building and healing, not for war. They had never encountered hostile intelligence before. Then who did this to them? Tay asked, finally, lowering his weapon slightly. What happened to this planet? June's face darkened. Another species came. The Nuri don't have a name for them, just an emotion of emptiness, absence. The void, I guess we could call them. They attacked without warning or communication. Mina finished her scan of the young Nuri. This is unlike any biology I've studied, but I think I understand the problem. The wound contains tiny machines, nanobots, that are attacking its cells. Can you stop them? June asked. Mina thought for a moment. Maybe. Our medical kit has electromagnetic pulse devices for malfunctioning implants. If these are machines, do it, June said. While Mina worked on the young Nuri, June continued his strange communication with Yoon. His face showed a series of emotions: wonder, sadness, horror, and finally, determination. The void came for their biological technology, he explained to Tay. The Nuri can bond with other life forms, create symbiotic relationships that enhance both species. It's why they evolved telepathy, to communicate with other intelligent life when they found it. And these void creatures wanted that power for themselves, Tay guessed. June nodded. But it doesn't work that way. The bond has to be freely given, built on trust and mutual need. The void tried to take it by force, which only killed the Nuri they captured. Suddenly, the young Nuri under Mina's care stirred. The electromagnetic pulse had worked. The nanobots were disabled. Its color shifted from a sickly gray to a healthier blue-green. Yoon made a sound that needed no translation: relief, gratitude. It moved toward Mina, who tensed, but stood her ground. One of its limbs, not a weapon limb but a smaller, more delicate appendage, gently touched her hand. Mina gasped as the connection formed. Oh, she said, I can feel it too. Tay watched with growing unease. This is all fascinating, but we need to report back to the ship. The captain will want to know what we've found. Our comms are too weak, June reminded him. We'd need to return to the surface. Then let's do that, Tay said. Bring them with us if you want, but we need to follow protocol on first contact. As if understanding, Yoon made a distressed sound. Through their connection, June received a warning. They can't leave this cave system, he translated. Not yet. The void left machines in orbit. Drones that hunt for Nuri life signs. That's why. They're hiding here. The cave minerals block the scans. So we're trapped here? Tay asked, his professional calm finally cracking. No, June said. One of us needs to return to the shuttle and contact the Harmony. The others should stay with the Nuri. After some debate, they decided Ty would go. being the best trained for solo movement in hostile territory. Before he left, however, something unexpected happened. The third young Nuri, which had stayed back until now, approached him. "I think it wants to connect with you," June said. Tai shook his head. "No thanks. I don't need alien thoughts in my brain." "It might help," June insisted. "The Nuri know this planet. They could guide you safely to the shuttle." Reluctantly, Tay allowed the young Nuri to touch his hand. His reaction was different from June's wonder or Mina's surprise. He went rigid, his eyes widening. "It's showing me the planet," he said. "Before the attack, it was beautiful." Then his expression changed. "I can see the routes to the surface. There's a void drone near the shuttle, but there's a way around it." When the connection broke, Tay seemed changed. He checked his weapon again, but his movements were less aggressive, more purposeful. "I'll contact the ship and return as soon as possible," he said. "Be careful." After Tay left, June and Mina continued treating the injured Nuri. Through their mental connection, they learned more about the species. The Nuri lived in small family groups. They built their technology from living materials, grown rather than manufactured. They had explored 12 star systems but never found other intelligent life until the void arrived. "They're the last ones," June said quietly. "This adult and these three young, their entire species." Mina looked at the young ones, now recovering from their injuries. "What do they want from us?" Before June could answer, Yoon approached again. This time the connection was deeper. June sank to his knees, overwhelmed by the rush of information and emotion. "They want our help," he said when he could speak again. "But they're offering something in return." "What could they possibly offer us?" Mina asked. June looked up at her, his eyes bright with wonder. "Everything. Their knowledge, their abilities. A true symbiosis between our species." Yoon made a sound. Then, a low, keening noise that seemed to come from deep within its body. Its colors shifted to deep indigo, and from its sensory area, a clear fluid began to flow. "It's weeping," June whispered. The creature that could have killed them all, the last adult of its kind, keeper of technologies humans could barely comprehend, was crying like a lost child. And in that moment, June knew humanity would never be the same again. The blue glow from Yoon's tears spread across its body. The light pulsed gently, casting strange shadows on the cave walls. June stood transfixed, feeling waves of emotion that were not his own washing through his mind. Grief, hope, fear, determination. "What's happening?" Mina asked, her voice barely above a whisper. June struggled to find words. "It's sharing its memories with me. The history of its people. Their fall." Through the mental link, June saw a world of incredible beauty. Floating cities made of living crystal. Gardens that grew in spirals toward the sky. The Nuri had lived in harmony with their planet for thousands of years. They had no concept of war or violence against thinking beings. Then the void came. Black ships that blocked out the sun. Weapons that turned life to dust. The Nuri tried to communicate, to understand what the invaders wanted, but the void did not speak. They only took. They were harvesting them, June said, his voice breaking, taking them apart to study how their biological technology works. Mina moved closer to the young Nuri she had helped. It reached out with a small limb and touched her face gently. "I can feel it too now," she said. Not words, but understanding. One of Yoon's limbs, not a weapon June now knew, but a tool for creation, gestured toward the cave entrance. In June's mind appeared an image of Tae making his way to the surface. Then danger, metallic spheres hovering in the air, scanning for life. "Tae's in trouble," June said. "The void left drones to find any survivors." "We have to warn him," Mina said, reaching for her comm unit. But the signal couldn't penetrate the cave minerals. Yoon made a decision. It gathered its three young and led the humans deeper into the cave system. The passages twisted and turned, descending at first, then rising toward the surface at a different point. "It knows another way out," June explained. "Somewhere the drones don't patrol." As they moved, the young Nuri stayed close to Mina. The one she had helped seemed particularly attached. changing its colors to match her movements. June realized the bond was growing stronger. The Nuri weren't just communicating. They were adapting to the humans, learning from them. They emerged from a narrow crack in the rocks about a kilometer from their original entry point. The sky was growing dark as the planet's sun set. In the distance, they could see strange lights moving in patterns, the void drones. "We need to find Tay before they do," June said. Yoon raised two of its limbs. The tips began to glow with a soft, green light. Through the link, June understood. It was scanning for Tay's life signs, using its own biology in ways human technology couldn't match. A new image formed in June's mind. Tay hiding in a rocky outcrop, a drone hovering just meters away. He was trapped. Without warning, Yoon began to move. Not the cautious pace of before, but a fluid, graceful motion that seemed impossible for something so large. The young stayed with Mina, while Yoon and June headed toward Tai's position. "Stay hidden," June told Mina. "We'll come back for you." Moving through the twilight landscape, June felt his own body changing. His steps became lighter, his vision sharper. Through the link with Yoon, his human limitations were being temporarily enhanced. "Is this what you offer?" June thought toward cursor. This connection? The answer wasn't in words, but in feeling. This and much more. The beginning of understanding. They found Tay crouched behind rocks, his weapon ready but useless against the hovering drone. The machine was the size of a human head, its surface black and featureless except for a red scanning beam that swept the area. Yoon stopped, colors shifting to match the rocky ground, a perfect camouflage. Through their link, June understood the plan. He moved away from Yoon, deliberately making noise. The drone turned instantly, its scanner locking onto him. June stood exposed, heart pounding. The drone moved toward him, a compartment opening to reveal what could only be a weapon. But before it could fire, something massive and nearly invisible struck from behind. Yoon had moved with impossible speed, its weapon limbs, which June now knew were called life shapers, slicing through the eye. Drone's shell. The machine fell to the ground, sparking and twitching. Yoon's colors returned to normal as it stood over the broken drone. Tay emerged from his hiding place, eyes wide. "That thing was about to kill you," he said to June, "and it saved you." "Not it," June corrected. "Yoon. And yes, that's what the Nuri do. They protect life." Tay looked from the drone to Yoon, then back to June. "I couldn't reach the shuttle. There are at least 5 more of these things patrolling the area." Yoon made a low sound, and new images filled June's mind. A larger ship in orbit, more void forces coming, limited time. The void left a small ship in orbit, June translated. "It's automated, but it will alert the main fleet if the drones are destroyed. We have maybe a day before more void ships arrive." "Then we need to contact the Harmony now," Tay said. "We can't fight an alien fleet." They returned to Mina and the young Nuri. While they had been gone, the bond between her and the young one had grown stronger. She was speaking to it softly, and although the Nuri couldn't understand her words, it responded to her tone, its colors shifting to match her voice patterns. "I've named this one Jin," she said. "It seems to like it." "We can't give them names," Tay objected. "These aren't pets. They're an alien species." "They're people," Mina said firmly. "Different from us, but people, and they need our help." Night had fully fallen now. In the darkness, the Nuri glowed faintly, their skin emitting just enough light to see by. Un led them to a small clearing where they could see the stars, and the Harmony, a tiny point of light moving across the sky. Tay tried again to contact the ship, but the signal was too weak. "We need to boost the power," he said, frustration clear in his voice. Yoon approached the comm unit. After examining it through June's understanding, it extended a life shaper toward the device. Thin tendrils grew from the limb, weaving into the technology, merging with it. The comm unit hummed to life, its power indicator jumping to maximum. "Harmony, this is Tay. Do you copy?" he said into the unit. After a moment of static, Sue's voice came through clearly. "We copy you, Tay. What's happening down there? Captain Dahl is preparing a rescue mission." "No rescue needed," Tay said, looking at Yoon. "But we need extraction. And we're bringing guests." There was a long pause before Sue replied. "Guests? Captain Dahl wants details." June took the comm unit. "This is Dr. Kim. We've made first contact with an intelligent species called the Nuri. They're refugees from an attack by another alien force. We need to bring them aboard for their own safety." "Negative," came the immediate response, but it wasn't Sue's voice. It was Captain Dahl himself. "First contact protocols require quarantine and evaluation. You will return to the ship for decontamination and debriefing. The aliens stay on the planet until proper procedures can be implemented." June looked at Yoon. Through their connection, the Nuri understood what was happening. Its colors darkened with what June now recognized as sadness. "Captain, with all respect, there's no time for protocols," June argued. "The hostile force will return within a day. If we leave the Nuri here, they'll be exterminated. They're the last of their kind." "That's not our problem, Doctor," Dahl replied coldly. "Our mission is exploration, not refugee rescue. Return to the ship immediately. That's an order." As the connection cut off, June turned to the others. Mina was holding one of Jin's limbs, her face set in determination. Tay looked torn, a soldier's discipline warring with what he had seen and felt. Yoon's colors shifted again, but this time to a deep purple June hadn't seen before. Through their link came not despair but resolve. And something else. A question. An offer. "Captain Dahl doesn't understand what we've found here," June said quietly. "What it means for humanity." "What do you mean?" Tay asked. June looked up at Yoon, the creature that could have killed him but instead had wept in his arms. The connection between them had grown stronger with each passing hour. He could feel new pathways forming in his mind, new possibilities, opening. "The Nuri don't just want our help," he said. "They're offering us a future together, a true symbiosis between our species." As the stars wheeled overhead and the broken landscape stretched around them, 4 humans and 4 aliens faced a choice that would change the course of 2 species forever. Silence fell over the group as they considered their options. The night air grew colder around them. In the distance, the lights of more void drones moved in searching patterns. "We have 3 choices," June said finally. "We follow orders and leave the Nuri behind. We stay here with them and face the void when they return. Or we disobey orders and bring them to the ship anyway." Tay finished. As a security officer, the idea clearly troubled him. Mina looked at Jin, the young Nuri who had bonded with her. "These aren't just aliens, they're people, the last of their kind. We can't leave them to die." Yoon moved forward, its massive form now familiar rather than frightening. Through their mental link, it showed June something new, not memories of the past but possibilities for the future. Humans and Nuri working together, each making the other stronger. "There's a 4th option," June said slowly. "Yoon is suggesting something unprecedented." He explained what he had seen. The Nuri's unique biology allowed them to form connections with other species, enhancing natural abilities. What had begun as simple communication between June and Hyun could become much more, a true symbiosis that would benefit both species. "You mean like what's happening to us already?" Mina asked, gesturing to the way Jin's colors shifted to match her movements. "I've noticed I can see better in the dark since we connected, and I think faster." "That's just the beginning," June said. "The full bond would be much deeper. We would remain separate beings, but connected in ways we can barely imagine." Shook his head. "That sounds like a loss of identity, becoming something else." "Not a loss," June corrected. "An addition, like learning a new language or gaining a new sense." Before they could discuss further, the comm unit crackled to life. "Landing team, this is Captain Dahl. A shuttle is being prepared for your extraction. ETA 20 minutes. Confirm your status." They all looked at each other. 20 minutes to decide the fate of 2 species. June took the comm. Captain, I need to make something clear. The Nuri aren't just intelligent life. They're a species with technology far beyond ours. Technology they're willing to share. All. The more reason to follow proper protocols, Dal replied. If their technology is that advanced, we need experts from Earth to evaluate it. There's no time for that, June insisted. And you don't understand. Their technology isn't machines we can study and replicate. It's biological, part of them. There was a pause before Dal responded. Explain. June looked at Yoon, who nodded, its massive head in encouragement. The Nuri have evolved the ability to form symbiotic bonds with other species, June said. These bonds enhance both partners. They're offering this to humanity, not as a transaction but as a partnership, a joining of our species. The silence that followed was telling. When Dal spoke again, his voice was cold. Dr. Kim, you appear to be compromised. Return to the ship immediately for medical evaluation. The connection cut off. Tae looked grim. Thinks you've been infected or brainwashed, he said. He'll send armed personnel to retrieve us. Then we need to make a decision now, Mina said. A sudden flash of light from the horizon made them all turn. A void drone had spotted something, or someone. Moments later, they heard the distant sound of weapons fire. The shuttle, Tae realized. They're already here. Through their link, Yoon conveyed urgent images, more void drones converging on the shuttle landing site. The human crew would be overwhelmed. We have to help them, June said, already moving. The others followed, the Nuri keeping pace effortlessly. As they ran, Yoon moved alongside June. New images filled his mind, not just communication now, but instruction. Understanding of how the Nuri's abilities worked, how the symbiosis could be strengthened, directed. Yoon says we can do more, June called to the others. The connection between us, we can deepen it, use it. How? Tae asked, his breathing heavy from running. Trust, June said simply. Open your mind to them as they've opened theirs to us. They reached a ridge overlooking a small clearing. The Harmony's shuttle had landed, but its crew was pinned down by 3 void drones. The shuttle's defensive weapons fired at the machines, but the drones moved too quickly, evading most shots. Those are our people down there, Tae said, reaching for his weapon. But my gun barely damaged 1 drone. How do we fight 3? Yoon made a sound like singing, a melodic tone that its young echoed. It extended its life-shaper limbs toward the humans, offering. Now we choose, June said. Truly choose. He stepped forward first, placing his hands on Yoon's offered limbs. The connection that had been growing between them suddenly expanded, deepened. June gasped as new awareness flooded his mind. Not just Yoon's thoughts and memories, but its abilities, its understanding of the world. Mina followed, joining with Jin. Then, after a moment's hesitation, Tae reached out to the 3rd young Nuri. The effect was immediate and startling. June felt his body changing, not in form but in function. His muscles responded faster, his senses sharpened beyond human limits. Most remarkable was his mind, processing information at speeds that seemed impossible, seeing connections and possibilities that had been invisible before. He looked at his hands and saw a faint blue glow beneath his skin, the same color as Yoon's bioluminescence. They were still separate beings, but now they were something more together. I can see the drone's patterns, Tae said in wonder. I know where they'll move before they do. And I can feel the injured crew members in the shuttle, Mina added. Their life signs, their wounds. Yoon communicated a plan, not in words or even images now, but in pure understanding that flowed between them all. They moved as one, each knowing their part without discussion. Tae went first, using his enhanced speed and strength to draw the drone's attention. He moved with impossible grace, every step precise, every motion calculated to maximum effect. His weapon, now augmented by his connection to the young Nuri, fired pulses of energy that disrupted the drone's systems. Mina and Jin circled around to the shuttle, their combined abilities letting them move almost invisibly through the shadows. The crew members inside stared in shock when they appeared. We're here to help, Mina told them. But you need to trust us. Meanwhile, June and Yoon faced the largest drone directly. Through their bond, June directed Yoon's incredible biological technology with human strategic thinking. The life-shaper limbs moved with surgical precision, dismantling the drone piece by piece. In less than 5 minutes, all 3 drones lay destroyed. The shuttle crew emerged cautiously, weapons still raised. Their leader, Lieutenant Park, stared at the glowing humans and the massive aliens beside them. "Dr. Kim," he said uncertainly. What's happened to you?" June felt the glow beneath his skin fade slightly as he stepped forward. "Evolution, Lieutenant. Cooperation instead of conflict." "Captain Dal sent us to bring you back," Park said. "All of you. He said you might be compromised." "Not compromised," June corrected. "Enhanced. And we're coming back. All of us, including the Nuri. The Void will return soon in force. There's no time to argue." Park looked from the humans to the aliens and back. The captain was clear about, "Look. Up, Lieutenant," Tay interrupted, pointing to the sky. A new light had appeared among the stars, brighter, moving faster than the Harmony's orbit. Through his bond with Yoon, June knew what it was. The Void scout ship activated by the destruction of its drones. "That's the enemy," June said, "and it's calling for reinforcements. We have hours, not days. So make your choice now, follow orders, and doom 2 species or help us save both." Park hesitated only a moment longer before lowering his weapon. "The shuttle can carry you all, but it will be tight, and the captain won't just let you dock." June smiled. "Let us worry about that. The Nuri have a few more surprises to share." As they boarded the shuttle, humans and aliens together, June felt Yoon's emotions flowing through their bond. Hope, determination, and something else. Something that felt remarkably like belonging. The future of 2 species now rested on what would happen when they reached the Harmony. But June was no longer afraid. Humanity had found not just new allies, but a new path forward. Evolution through connection rather than competition. The shuttle lifted off, leaving the broken planet behind. Above them, the stars beckoned. The shuttle approached the Harmony, its communication system crackling with urgent messages from Captain Dahl. "Lieutenant Park, what is the status of the recovery team? Why are you deviating from approach protocols?" Park looked at June before answering. "Sir, we have all members of the landing party on board, plus 4 guests." "Guests?" Dahl's voice rose sharply. "I gave explicit orders. Captain," June cut in, "there's a Void scout ship active in orbit. It's calling for reinforcements. We have maybe 6 hours before a larger force arrives." A long pause followed. When Dahl spoke again, his voice was cold with anger. "Dr. Kim, you are relieved of duty pending medical evaluation. Lieutenant Park, you will secure the aliens in the shuttle bay upon docking. Armed guards will meet you." The connection cut off. Park looked apologetically at June. "I have to follow orders." "I understand," June said. "But please, just let us explain once we're aboard. Let the captain see for himself." As the shuttle entered the Harmony's docking bay, they could see security personnel waiting, weapons ready. Yoon sensed June's concern and sent calming thoughts through their bond. "They fear what they don't understand," June translated for the others. "We need to show them, not tell them." The shuttle doors opened. Captain Dahl stood at the front of the security team, his face hard with resolve. "Dr. Kim, step forward alone." June did as instructed, but not alone. Yoon moved with him, their connection now so strong that separation would have been painful for both. Dahl's eyes widened at the sight of the massive alien. "Security. Contain that creature." "Captain, please," June said, raising his hands. "There's no need for weapons. The Nuri are peaceful. They're refugees, not invaders." "You don't sound like yourself, Doctor," Dahl said, studying him closely. "Your eyes, they're different." It was true. Since deepening his bond with Yoon, June's eyes had taken on a faint blue glow, the same color that sometimes pulsed beneath his skin. "I'm still me, Captain," June assured him. "Just more than I was before. The Nuri have shared something wonderful with us. something that could change everything for humanity. Dal remained skeptical. And I'm supposed to take the word of a man who's clearly been altered by alien influence? The standoff might have continued, but fate intervened. The ship's alarm suddenly blared and the lights switched to emergency red. "Captain," called the bridge officer over the comms. "The alien ship has changed course. It's heading directly. For us, weapons charging." Dal hesitated only a moment before turning to his security chief. "Battle stations. Prepare to engage." "You can't fight them with conventional weapons," Tay said, stepping forward. "We tried that on the surface. Their technology is too advanced." "Then what do you suggest, Officer Han?" Dal asked, doubt clear in his voice. Tay looked at June and the Nuri. "Let them help us. They understand the void better than we ever could." Before Dal could respond, the ship shuddered as something struck it. The lights flickered and several systems went offline. "Hull breach on Deck 3, reported the bridge. "Unknown technology is burning through our shields." Dal looked at the Nuri, then at his crew, weighing impossible options in seconds. Finally, he nodded. "What do you need, Dr. Kim?" "Access to the ship's systems," June said immediately. "And trust, Captain, at least for the next few hours." They rushed to the bridge, human and Nuri together. Crew members stared in shock at the aliens but were too focused on the crisis to panic. On the main screen they could see the Void scout ship, black, angular, and menacing as it fired another energy burst at the Harmony. "Shields failing," reported the tactical officer. "One more hit like that and we're done." Yoon moved to the central console, examining it through June's understanding. The mental link between them flowed both ways now. Yoon learning human technology as June learned Nuri biology. "Yoon says their weapons target living matter specifically," June explained. "That's why our shields don't work well against them. We need to modify the shield frequency to mimic biological patterns." The science officer looked confused. "That's not possible with our current technology." "It is with theirs," June said. With Dal's reluctant permission, Yoon extended its life-shaper limbs toward the ship's main control panel. Thin, glowing tendrils emerged, weaving into the technology like living wires. The ship's lights flickered, again but this time with a blue tint. "What's happening?" Dal demanded. "The Nuri are connecting with the ship," Mina explained, Jin beside her. "Not controlling it but enhancing it, like they've enhanced us." On the screen, they could see the shields changing, becoming not just energy fields but something partly alive, adapting and responding. When the Void ship fired again, the beams scattered harmlessly across the new shields. "It worked," the tactical officer said in amazement. "Shields holding at 95%. Dal looked at June and Yoon with new respect. "Can we fight back?" June shook his head. "Not effectively with your weapons, but we can escape. The Harmony is faster at sublight speeds." "Running isn't a long-term solution," Dal pointed out. "What about the reinforcements?" "We need to reach Earth," June said. "The Nuri have knowledge that could help prepare humanity for what's coming. This isn't just about saving 4 refugees. It's about saving both our species." For the first time, Captain Dal seemed to truly listen. As the Harmony pulled away from the Void ship, increasing the distance between them, he ordered a full briefing in the conference room. There, June and the other humans who had bonded with the Nuri explained everything: the Void's attack on the Nuri homeworld, the symbiotic relationship they'd begun to form, and the potential for a new future together. "The Nuri don't want to change us," June concluded. "They want to grow with us. They offer their abilities and knowledge freely, asking only for partnership in return. And protection," Dal added. "You said they're the last of their kind." "Yes," June acknowledged. 4 individuals against extinction. Dal was silent for a long moment. "Even if I believe everything you've said, Dr. Kim, Earth authorities may not. Humanity has dreamed of first contact for centuries, but the reality is more complicated than our dreams." "Then we show them what we've shown you," Mina said. Jin stood beside her, its colors shifting to match her emotions. Actions, not just words. In the days that followed, as the Harmony raced toward Earth, something remarkable happened. Word of the Nuri spread throughout the ship. Despite initial fear, crew members became curious. Some even volunteered to form preliminary bonds with the young Nuri, experiencing for themselves what June, Mina, and Tai had described. Each connection was unique. Engineers found they could understand the ship's systems on an intuitive level. Medical staff gained insights into healing that had never been possible before. Even Captain Dal eventually allowed a brief connection with Yoon, emerging from the experience visibly shaken but convinced. "It's like nothing I could have imagined," he admitted to June privately. "Not an invasion of the mind, but an expansion of it." When they finally reached Earth orbit, they were met not with the quarantine Dal had initially feared, but with cautious welcome. The Harmony's transmissions about the Void threat had been taken seriously. Representatives from the United Earth government came aboard to meet the Nuri, accompanied by scientists, diplomats, and military advisors. June watched as Owen approached the human delegation. The massive alien that had once terrified him now moved with gentle confidence, its colors bright and steady. One of the diplomats stepped forward, a woman named Director Santos. "On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to Earth," she said formally. Yoon responded not with words but with a gesture, extending a limb, offering connection. Director Santos looked uncertain. June stepped forward. "It's how they communicate," he explained. "Not with words but with understanding. I can translate, or you can experience it directly." Santos considered for only a moment before reaching out to touch Yoon's offered limb. Her eyes widened in wonder. Later, as Earth's first official human-Nuri diplomatic meeting concluded, June stood by a viewport looking down at the blue planet below. Yoon joined him, their minds sharing the moment without words. "It's just the beginning," June said softly. "So much will change." Through their bond, Yoon shared not just agreement, but a deeper truth. That change was the nature of life itself. Evolution wasn't just about competition and survival. Sometimes it was about reaching across the divide between species, about choosing connection over conflict. It had started with a simple human gesture, arms wrapped around an alien form, in a moment of compassion rather than fear, a hug instead of a weapon, and that choice had opened the door to a future neither species could have imagined alone. As new bonds formed between humans and Nuri across the ship, and soon across Earth itself, June understood that they weren't just saving the last of a dying species. They were becoming something new together, something stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than either had been alone. A new chapter for humanity had begun, and it had started with a hug.